Good morning children. In the preceding section, we had discussed about the formation of male and female gamete. Male gamete is present in the pollen grain and female gamete is present in the embryo sac. Both the gametes are non-motile, so that there is a need of transfer of male gamete to the female gamete to cause fertilization. So this process of transfer of male gamete from the anther to the stigma of the flower from this stamen or anther to the stigma of the flower is called as pollination. The definition of pollination is given here. On the basis of how do the pollen grain is transferred, the pollination is mainly of two types. That is self-pollination, autogamy, and cross-pollination, that is genogamy. Autogamy is what? When the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma takes place of the same flower, then it is called as autogamy. If the flower is bisexual, then autogamy is possible. The chances of performing the autogamy is more. On the basis of the structure of the flower can be categorized again as chesmogamous flower and the clistogamous flower. One plant even can bear both the types of flower. Like here in the example of plants are given here, that is viola in pansy and in oxalis and in commoglina. The chesmogamous and clistogamous, both the types of flowers are present. So they possess the open type of flower like in pansy and viola. These open flowers are called as chesmogamous flower, and even they also possess the clistogamous flower, which are the closed flowers. So what is the difference between in chesmogamous and clistogamous, or what is the advantage of clistogamous flower? In clistogamous flower, the assured pollination is there, self-pollination is there, and assured seed set will be formed without any pollinating agency. So this is the advantage of clistogamous flower. Now it comes the another type of self-pollination, that is called as geitonogamy. How can we explain the geitonogamy? Geitonogamy is the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the another flower but of the same plant. Plant is same. So hence it is called as type of self-pollination only, but it is geitonogamy. In this case, the flower can be bisexual also and can be unisexual also. Now it comes the third type of pollination, that is genogamy. In genogamy, the transfer of pollen grain takes place from the anther to the stigma of the another flower of the another plant but of the same species. That is called as cross-pollination. For cross-pollination, the plants need to have various agencies. These are called as agents of pollination. There are two main agents of pollination, that is biotic agents and abiotic agents. Most of the plants depends on biotic agents and very few plants depends on abiotic agents. The two main abiotic agents which helps in the process of pollination is water and wind. So here we are taking up first the mechanism of wind pollinated flowers. So when air is the agent by which the pollination is caused, the mechanism is called as anemophily. The maize is the most common example of anemophily. Here we are to first of all understand what are the characteristics of wind pollinated flowers. The wind pollinated flowers possess very light pollen grains. They should be non-sticky, well exposed stamens, and the stigma and the stamen should be large and exposed. Here we can see the tassels of the cornflower, which are actually the stamen of the flower to release the pollen grain, and stigma should also be very well exposed, and large number of pollen grains are produced here. Because when wind is the pollinating agency, there is uncertainty of pollination is always there, and to compensate the uncertainty and loss of pollen grain while carrying it through the wind, the large number of pollen grains are produced here. Now it comes the second type of pollination, in which water is the agency by which the pollen grains are taken. That mechanism is called as hydrophily. There are various examples of hydrophily are there, but it is not compulsory that all aquatic plant will undergo the water pollination. Like in water hyacinth and in water lily, the insect pollination is there because the flower is above the surface of the water. In algae, in bryophytes and pteridophytes, the water is needed to transfer the gametes. Hence, the distribution of biophyte and pteridophyte is lesser because they need water as a agency for the transfer of the gametes. Now, we are here taking up the example of Vallisneria. The diagram is showing the Vallisneria is possessing the ribbon-like leaves and the plant is completely present within the water. Here the female flower when get mature, then with the help of this long cylindrical coiled stalk, the female flower reaches at the surface of the water, and female flower also liberates its pollen grain. Those are being taken by the passive currents of water and will cause the pollination of the female flower. After the pollination, the female flower will again get coiled and will come under the water. So this way the pollination is caused in the Vallisneria. In sea grasses, here one more example is given. In sea grasses, the pollen grains are long and ribbon-like and they sink within the water. Female flower remain inside the water only and pollen grains reaches the inside the water and then they cause the pollination. Now it comes the insect or animal pollination. Where the insects and animals are the agencies for pollination, this mechanism is called as entomophily. What are these insects which causes pollination? Is bees, butterfly, beetles, wasps, ants. Birds are also there like sunbirds, hummingbirds and other animals like primates and tree-dwelling animals, gecko lizards. All of these animals, birds and the insects, all of these comes under the category of animals which causes the pollination. Now what are the characteristics of insect pollinated or animal pollinated flower? Mostly the flowers which are using the insect as pollinating agency, they are very attractive in very attractive in their shape and color. They possess very attractive color, they are large in size, they possess nectar, they possess pollen. If they are very small in size, then they will be present in the cluster to attract the insects toward them. In turn of pollination, once the insect is pollinating the flower is also providing a reward to the insect in terms of nectar and in terms of pollen. Here they have given one very important example of a Morphophilus flower which is 6 feet in height and it provides a safe landing place for the eggs of various insects. So this landing place is providing a reward. The flower is providing a reward to the insect. Similarly, the flower of yucca and the insect moth, both cannot complete their life cycle without each other. This moth lays its eggs in the locule of the ovary of the yucca flower and yucca gets pollinated in turn when the insect lays its eggs inside the ovary. So both of them are getting benefited. This is the interrelationship of one insect and one flower. Thank you.